as far as I'm concerned. I am so glad to have you all join us today. I'm getting really, really excited for the start of fall quarter and intersession coming up here in just a week after next. So hopefully you're getting excited as well. And the campus has been through all kinds of planning this summer to get ready for every eventuality that COVID-19 puts in front of us. We're trying. There have been some very hardworking task force that have been doing some hard work. And I know in the last week or so, you were receiving a lot of messages from Seattle University. It'll give you some idea of the work that people have been going through in the last few months, trying to make it possible for everybody to stay on track and start as planned. So I just want to welcome you to Seattle University. My name is Janet Chandley, and I'm the Director of Graduate Admission at Seattle U. And somewhere in your correspondence from Seattle U, you have a letter of admission from me and a welcome to Seattle University from me. So it's a large group that is joining us today. There were over 200 RSVPs. So normally, a meeting style format instead of a webinar style format wouldn't be perfect for a group of 200. But I do want the opportunity for you to see each other as much as you can and to find each other as much as you can in that space while we have the chance to be together. Normally, this is an on-campus event, and it's one of my favorite ones of the whole year. The energy is so high, and people are really excited. So we started doing this welcome Q&A with those who started summer quarter, earlier in summer quarter, and it was really fun for us and for people that were involved with it to be able to engage with current students in this way. And I'm really grateful to our student panelists and our guide who's going to introduce them a little later on in the program. So I just wanted to let you know that we are recording this event. We want to make it available for you after the fact, and we want to make it available to those who weren't able to join us today. We will also have with us a chat, which you'll see opening up shortly, and it will be an active place for you to ask your questions, and we'll be monitoring that closely. And so the transcript from the chat will be made available as well as the video of this particular event. So we also are doing live captioning on this event, and we want to make sure that those who rely on that particular service or find it helpful in an event like this, we want to make sure that you know that that is being live captioned. Okay. The other thing that I want to just mention really quickly is that so much of what we are doing at Seattle University is directly tied to our mission. And it is one of those sort of things that I think is so important for you all to be able to familiarize yourself with as we move forward. And I'm going to quickly just show you this, this page because it shows what our mission is about at Seattle University. And just a reminder that this is what our mission is, that mission statement looks like at Seattle University. So this is a little fuzzy since I made it so big, but I do want you to know that people choose Seattle University for lots and lots of reasons, but our provost has said many times in these last few months that Seattle U is sort of made for times like this time of uncertainty, and this time where we are really kind of leaning into our values at this point in time. And so we have tried to carry that forward in our planning for the intersession and for the fall to make sure that your Seattle University experience is as closely tied to our values and our mission as possible. And so I'm just not going to go through all this for you, but I know that based upon prior experience that people are very, if you break this mission statement down into its respective parts, so much of what we're offering is professional formation for people in their program of study. But a lot of people have been attracted to Seattle U because we've had a social justice bent for over, for most of our founding, and even before Seattle University was founded, in the Jesuit ethos of over 450 years, almost 500 years, that's been at the core for justice in the humane world. And what we've heard of so much lately, because people are very much more in tune now in this time of introspection, is that our dedication to educating the whole person has taken on a whole new meaning for a lot of people. So I didn't want us to go too far without kind of recognizing that everything we do and is tied to our mission, and it is us walking our talk in many ways. So want you to be aware of that as we go through the agenda today. The part of what we, as I said, we've been taking all kinds of COVID precautions, and many of the emails that you would have received from the university last week were related to the kinds of steps you need to take if you come to campus, and all of those are going to be kind of important reminders for you. One thing that you will receive very soon in the next few days or early next week is an invitation to an online orientation that will contain a lot of information, really practical information for you to discover everything from parking to campus cards to a whole host of issues, academic support services and the like. So I want you to be really mindful of that when that invitation comes through. It's going to be happening on our learning platform called Canvas, and most of your classes are going to be taking advantage of Canvas as a learning assistance tool as well. So quickly, the format for our event today, I'm going to pass it off to the chair of our Grad Student Council shortly, who will guide you through the next piece. Just know that we're going to leave the video open until we go to the student panel, so that in a group this large, so that we can identify those panelists and you can see who's talking at any given time. I'm going to ask you, and Obed's going to remind you to turn your video off at that time if you have it on. In the meantime, it's fun to have it on while I'm talking, while Obed's talking, so that you can kind of see each other. But once we go to the panel, I'm asking you to turn your video off so that you can see the panelists better. So we're going to go to our first poll of the evening is also one that will help us kind of see who's all on board. And we are in kind of what school that you are in. So we're going to pop up the first poll and leave that open for a few minutes. Excellent. I wouldn't expect many from the College of Nursing since they mostly start in the summer, but that is borne out in the survey. So we're going to give that another couple seconds, and then we're going to close the poll. Thank you so much. So right now, as you can see, there's 20, like maybe a quarter of you almost from the College of Arts and Sciences, a little bit higher than that in business, and education is at the largest group right now, and then followed by science and engineering and the School of Theology and Ministry. So thank you for that. And at this time, I'm going to share the results. And that the the results for this are posted here, and it's no big deal if you didn't have a chance to vote, but this just gives everybody an idea who's on the call. So at this point in time, I'm going to introduce Obed Kabanda. He's a doctoral student in our College of Education in Educational Leadership. And as I mentioned before, he's the new chair of our Graduate Student Council. Take it away, Obed.
Thank you, Janet, this afternoon for guiding us through and for giving us those heads up for today's program. And I want to say today's program is very specific, and we hope we can give you as much information as we can through our panelists. And as you already have heard, we'll request that you make sure that you're turned off with your voice and making sure that we don't have any noise in the background so that we can have the best of this webinar that we have this afternoon. Our program will involve introducing a few members here before we can start. I'm gladly going to ask our Graduate Student Council members, executive board members who are in the house to introduce themselves shortly in 1 minute, and then I'll call on the panelists as well to introduce themselves. We need to know them a little more. And thereafter, we'll get into the discussions this afternoon that we are meant to have. I want to officially welcome you to this webinar and for making time, leave alone what's going on around us, all of us. But I appreciate you making time to be here. It shows your commitment to the programs that you're all assigned to, that you already taken a decision to take on for the many years that you'll be in the program. But welcome to Seattle University. And as Janet just said, this is a home of social justice. This is a home and a home of a family, a home of partnership building, a home of strengthening each other. So I want to, on behalf of Graduate Student Council, to welcome all of you. And at this moment, allow me ask the Graduate Student Council Executive Board members in the house to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Well, it's nice to see all of you. I'm actually excited about the number of participants. My name is Kazalu, and chief of staff, graduate student, executive. And I'm really excited that I get this position because I get to work with every graduate students, and whatever you guys need or want, we are here as a GSC executive to help you guys. So it's nice to meet you, everyone.
Thank you, Kelly. Chen, go next.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Chongjian Chen, and feel free to call me by CJ. I am the Associate Vice Chair of Finance for GSC for this year. I am in the Master of Professional Accounting program starting in the fall. And I'm looking forward to work with everyone here.
Yeah, CJ is in charge of finance. He's Associate Vice President for Finance. We have a full Vice President. She's an Assistant Vice President for Finance. So you know who is handling your money for the next academic year. Maria? Maria, do we have you on?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm here. Yes, hope everyone is doing well. My name is Maria. I am the executive coordinator, so I'm in charge of supporting all of GSC staff, but I work closely with Obed and with our community relations chair, Cheyenne, who will be planning a lot of fun events for you to be able to connect with other graduate students. And I'm also open to answering any questions. So if you ever email the GSC box or email box, that'll be me answering. So anyway, on to the next person, or back to Obed.
Sure. Thank you, Maria. Great having Maria, Chen, and Kelly who are here today, but we have a Vice President External Relations who is meant to ensure that we have the best of our events and relationships. But also we have our Vice President Finance, like I earlier said, and strategic planning, because we want to have the best of the plans that we can have to ensure that graduate student experience is the best at Seattle U. I want to talk a little about Graduate Student Council. People might be wondering, what is GSC? GSC, people are saying, what is? So GSC is an abbreviation for Graduate Student Council, and its mission is basically to make sure that between the students and administration, we have the best student experience, graduate student experience, ensuring that we advocate for student needs and, all that goes around issues of effectiveness in accessing resources at the university, making sure that there are issues of equity and access to any resources that should make the graduate student experience a success at Seattle University. And therefore, I want to say you're welcome to this body or council that, works hard to make sure that we have the best of the best for your experience at Seattle University. You are all, we're excited to have you by fall, and you'll be hearing from us, in the first week with a great message welcoming you. And I'm sure that you'll feel at home with all the messaging. But of course, like Janet said, there's lots going on, and we expect that you become free with sharing all that is happening around you, especially to make sure that you have the best of your graduate student experience. We know that we are living in times that are tough. I was telling someone today that we are living in a space of radical changes. It's not just mere changes. These are radical changes that you and me are experiencing differently, and therefore we do appreciate that we need to hear and listen to your voices in respect to where you are in the journey of your graduate experience. So you're most welcome, and please feel free to reach out to any of these members and other members like you know them later on. I want to ask our panelists very quickly to take a minute introducing themselves. We will hear from them about their program of study, how long they have been into the program, but also where they call home. And I expect 1 minute with each panelist to do that. Queen, you want to go first?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Queen and I'm from Vietnam. So I'm currently I'm doing master in finance, and I've been through 1 year. So I'm gonna go into my second year next year. I'm also the graduate ambassador. So normally I'm in charge of taking students on campus tour. So when campus is open again, I hope that I can see you in real person and take you on real campus tour. So yeah, welcome everyone.
Cool. John?
Hello, everyone. It's my first time ever seeing so many people in the Zoom like this, so it's a little bit nervous. But welcome, everyone. My name is John, and I'm originally from South Korea. And currently, I am a full-time MSBA, Master of Science in Business Analytics program. And I've been in Seattle University for almost exactly a year. I started my program starting from last fall, 2019. And I've completed around 2/3 of my program, and I am expected to finish my studies after the winter quarter. So welcome, everyone.
Ooh. Congratulations. Bruno?
Yeah. Hi. This is probably the biggest Zoom meeting I've ever been in. I'm glad to see so many people show up. I am just heading into my first year. My name is Bruno Ruiz, and I will be in the Masters of Computer Science program starting in the fall. I actually went through the certificate program for non-CS majors. So I have an undergraduate in microbiology from UW, and that actually got me into the CS. So I'll be starting that program in the fall.
Thank you, Bruno. Stephanie?
Hi, everybody. I am Stephanie. I am part of the Department of Education. My specialty is the clinical mental health counseling, and I will say that I saw the 33%, and I know you're all in here, and I'm so excited you're all here. As of next Monday, I will be 100% done with my master's program and be able to go and get my LMHCA and get a higher paying job. So I will say that I am someone who did clinical work full-time and did this master's program full-time. So I want you guys to know that it's doable. It's very, very hard, but it's doable on top of buying a house in between that. So you guys can do it. Please communicate with me. Yeah, the program is great. So I'm really excited to hear about your guys' questions.
Thank you, Stephanie, and everyone for those intros. I think you can see how rich we have a panel. And Stephanie, thanks for adding that. That's doable. I think you are about to scare everyone when you say it is hard, but I'm happy you added it's doable. It's doable. So just to remind you that we'll be using our chat. Make sure that you ask any question in there and make sure that you have your voice muted and making sure that we don't have noise in the background so that we have a few bunch of questions we'll be asking our panelists, and they will be answering some of the areas that we feel are very important for you to know. But just in case something comes up and you feel it's not addressed by the questions and the answers that are being given by our panelists, please do not hesitate to ask in the chat. Thank you. I will ask our panelists to share with us, given the challenges of virtual learning and what strategies you have successfully used with your experience of virtual learning during the spring quarter, especially because that's when this came up in the last time COVID started. Do you want to share with our participants today what are those key strategies that have been successful in enabling you to do virtual learning? And any of you can answer.
I guess I could go.
Sure.
So in the certificate program, the first year, of course, wasn't virtual. And I kind of consider myself, I guess, a library and coffee shop rat. So I spent a lot of time outside of my apartment when doing studying. But when we started to transition into virtual learning, it did kind of tie me down to my desk. So I made sure to get some things to make myself comfortable at my desk so that I can spend more and more time there. But yeah, I think that's kind of one of the first things I would say it's a necessity is to find a comfortable space.
Quinn, did you have any idea of what strategies have helped you transition to virtual learning?
Yeah, so so I did my my spring quarter in virtual learning, and both courses were asynchronous online, which means that the professor, they posted video online and you just go on and watch the videos and you do your assignments. So that works pretty well for me, as I could read the materials and by myself and learn by my own space, and it's learn by my own pace, and I just read or watch the videos on whatever parts that I don't understand. So that works pretty well for me. Also, I have some office hours with my professors. So when I go to the office hour, I got my question ready. So then I just go there and I find the answers. So that even helps me to learn better by myself rather than I just go to class and passively listen to the professors. One thing that I learned that is that you should actively reach out to your professors anytime, and the professors, they're usually more flexible in a meeting with you rather than normal. So I think that one of the advantages of studying virtually. Yeah.
I know, Stephanie, you're beginning to think how to share with us your experience, but I wanted you to, think about someone who is already looking at fall and who has never even experienced fully learning through remote experience. is there any support that people like someone who is going to be on remote learning for the first time have at Seattle U?
Yeah, I think I was chatting with some people already on the group chat, but I want to express how helpful the staff is. Once you find your advisor within the program, once you're able to connect with all the staff members, everyone is very, very helpful. I was going to say, you know, your cohort is really, really like the big backbone to getting through these 3 years. But with virtual learning, that could be a little difficult. So I'm hoping through this virtual learning process, which all of my last summer quarter and spring quarter was virtual, just connect as much as you can. This is like the time not to be so shy, because in this way, you guys will be able to assist each other with like homework assignments and clinical work and things like that. So I think right now, connecting and getting as many emails as possible is probably the best way to kind of push through this program with all the questions you have. And most of the staff in our program, I feel, are very responsive with their emails. So that's been helpful.
Sure. I think it responds to the chat message. Question I had, what's the turnaround time? I think you just said it. Most of the professors are very, time on. They are spot on. No delays on. The response rate is so high. I've experienced this just from my own experience. So yes, thank you, Stephanie, for that. But John, I know you've had a very nice experience learning online, but I'm trying to, just for the sake of participants today, what has been your experience with professors accommodating individual student needs in this respect to virtual learning?
Yeah, so definitely, this is very difficult, unprecedented time. So professors are trying to be very flexible in terms of their office hours and or any mean of communication. Usually, for example, that really depends on different professors, but they usually try to expand their office hours or kind of try to have them more often. Or definitely there might be also, particularly within the business school, there are people who are doing the part-time and then working simultaneously. So just in case those kind of things happen, professors usually kind of ask the students to send an email or leave a message through the Canvas. And later they try to be really responsive and then get back to the students as fast as possible. Because that obviously is, even though they try to respond as soon as possible, but still there is a delay. They have to check their messages or emails and then responding to them. But based on what I've gone through since from last spring quarter, when all the learnings became virtual, they really tried their best to try to get back to each different students as much as possible. So try to take advantage of that and then try to be engaged for yourself in order to make the best out of it.
Thank you, John. I know that one of the other experiences that many students faced during spring quarter was, the transition to making sure that they have the required IT equipment and resources to support their learning. What would you say to anyone who is coming into the program this fall in respect to IT needs or resources? What do they have to take into account as they plan to come and start the program? Any of you could go for that.
I would say try to get a good webcam, or at least make sure that your webcam on your laptop does work. A microphone like the one I'm using, which is just, this is probably don't have to go this far, but any microphone that is on your headphones or on a cord will make you a lot easier to hear, and you'll feel like you won't be yelling at your computer while you're in class. It's just small stuff like that, really.
Stephanie, do you have any experience with the IT?
I'm sorry, I'm so involved in the group chat. Can you say your question again?
It's about any experiences you had with transitioning from the normal IT resources you had to ensure that you have the best out of the virtual learning.
I think kind of like what Bruno is saying is making sure that everything that you have is kind of already working. I didn't have any issues with IT things. I think the most difficult thing transitioning for me was like just being home and trying to get rid of all the distractions and the animals and the partner and all that. So that will definitely be a challenge if some of you haven't already done it. It was kind of a challenge for me because, like I mentioned, like with full-time work and like then getting off of work and then getting onto another website to get onto Zoom so I can be in class, like it was a lot. So some of the advice I would say outside of IT is just make sure you find a good space to have school. I moved rooms almost every week because I got tired of being in the same room every week. So I really recommend finding different places in your home or just different places in general so you can get comfortable because they're long classes.
Yeah. No, thanks a lot for that, Stephen. I think that's very, very wonderful. I was going to ask you for, our members to even get this understanding more. How do small group work on a virtual learning environment? Small group discussions or, among cohort members, do you want to share an experience in that respect? Queen, did you want to go?
Yeah. All right. So last quarter I had normally professor will just assign you into groups, and the group could be even smaller because of the virtual learning. So it was good for me. I talked to my partner or my teammate every once or twice a week through online, and it was even more flexible because we were always stay home. So just get a call and then we can go online. We meet each other. But I think that you should set a time, a meeting time in advance so that you could commit to the timeline better rather than too much flexibles will make you a little bit too much distractions. Yeah, that's in my opinion.
Sure. I think that is helpful, but also I want to remind members who are on the call that even during classes, there will be some breakout sessions. Sometimes within even the same Zoom call, you are getting into breakout sessions within the team and you're able to have more engaging discussions with your fellow cohort members. So that's even more helpful beyond going for group discussions out of the normal class sessions. So yes, I think there's a lot to do with the small group. Of course, it's not the experience that you would have with in person, but it's an opportunity there that helps to allow that engagement and continuous working together on stuff. I want to us to get into another angle of academic and student support during this time that we are in, especially as we come to fall. If need be, and I need support from the Writing Center or the library, how do I find those services when I'm even on virtual space?
Okay, so I will go on these questions. So currently, I'm helping my professors with his research. So I need to do a lot of online research, and CRU, they have the library, they have a website, and then they have a chat box, and then there is somebody, I would say a library assistant, who will be there almost 24 hours to quickly accommodate with your needs or respond to your questions. So for example, I want to ask where can I find articles about mergers and acquisitions, so that the person, they immediately reply me on whatever guides I need to look through. If I still cannot look through, then I could set up Zoom meetings with an assigned librarian in my field of studies. So I think it's really convenient. Just log on the websites and chat with them, and there they are. So 24 hours, really.
Sure. I think that's a very huge opportunity for grad students to use the library resources. And I know from your first classes, a lot will be talked about that, but there's a lot of resources in the library to support your learning in the process of working. I wanted to just ask, for the sake of any international students who might be on this evening session, what does it take for an international student starting the program in their home country, and yet they are here to study with others? How does that, any experience or any sharing of how this works out, and especially when it comes to time differences?
So I can give one of my perspectives. So one of my classmates and my cohort classmates is from Taiwan, and she went back to her home country starting from the spring break. And it really depends on whether the class is going asynchronous or synchronous, the latter meaning if the class is meeting in real time. And if the class is meeting in real time, it's definitely based on the Pacific Standard Time here in Seattle. And so therefore, like, I believe there are like around 14 hours difference. And she said that she had to kind of wake up in the morning, because usually for the Albert School, the class starts from 6 p.m., goes all the way around like 8:40 to 9 p.m., depending on different classes. And yeah, so it'll be good if that really depends on how the format the class is. But usually if it's asynchronous, then professors are trying to accommodate and then try to make it a little easier for students by recording the lectures, or kind of like asking them to read different articles or different readings. But if the class is definitely synchronous, then you have to bear that in mind, and then try to set it in the same time zone. So
yeah, I think that's very important. And for any international student on this webinar, just get to know that there's lots of accommodative times, and the professors take this into consideration. But should you have any specific needs or challenges, it's also very important to reach out directly to your professor. It helps so much, and they do take consideration for your specific needs. So that's something I wanted to speak about. I know, Melanie, you have been at Seattle U for some time now, and I wondered if you could talk to us about how do I even receive any information or get to know about any financial aid that's available for grad students? Where do I start, and how does that mean for me as a grad student coming in fall?
Yeah, hi, thanks for that. And I didn't do an intro, so I'll just say real quick that my name is Melanie Grout, and I'm in the College of Arts and Sciences in the Masters of Psychology program, and just starting my second year out of 2 years. So yeah, I feel like I don't have super detailed information on this, so I welcome other answers from people, but I have had to work through financial aid, and have found the financial aid office highly useful, and literally just calling their phone number that's available on the webpage, sort of through the student portal, I'm always able to reach somebody who can direct me to whoever I need to go to. And then I've also made a fair amount of use of the links, once I'm on the SU page, links to information on my own accounts, anything I've applied for, due dates. Yeah, so basically I'd say directly calling. I always find I can reach someone, and then just the links on the website are really useful as well.
Thank you, Melanie. Any member, any panelist has an addition on financial aid? An experience? Okay, sounds good. I think the most important thing is just to say that we have a full financial aid office and a financial aid counselor, and you can always get this information rightly from the office of financial aid, and all this information is available on the website. But should you need any specific information, please do reach out. I think there are some available opportunities that help grad students. I wanted to finish the issue of the accessing the library, but also online, but I'm trying to ask, just I'm in Seattle and I want to have access to a book. How do I go about that? And possibly I have even got it and I've used it, but I want to check it out. How does that happen, even when we are still on virtual learning?
I can't speak to books that you'd probably check out from the library, but as far as textbooks, most of the books I need, I've been doing a lot of virtual renting of textbooks. I know SU has used textbooks, and they usually have the resources to link you to the book online where you can rent it for a semester or quarter and use it there.
No, thank you so much. I think lots of information about books. Make sure that you check with your professor about what type of books you need for your course and making sure that you have access to them. Should you have any issues, reach out. And there's a lot of support. Most of them are available online and you can always access them. But should you have any issues, I think reaching out is very, very important. I want to get much more to any of our participants who, has to work, juggle family, and still have to succeed with her or his graduate studies. How do you speak to anyone who is in such a scenario where they are working, they have family, they have to juggle work and studies? Any experience of the hints of how to succeed?
So for me, for example, I am both a full-time student for the MSBA, but I work as well as for the Albert School's graduate program. So I kind of work and then kind of help to process and then facilitate the inquiries or any questions or any of the internal application processes. But for me, I really try to set my time schedule and then try to fix and then try to stay within the time schedule. Because definitely, because you're staying home for a whole day, you kind of, it's good to be flexible, but at the same time, if you are being too flexible, maybe you might not be able to kind of get your tasks done on time or kind of be lagged a little bit. So for me, I really kind of set my time. When I need to work for my part-time job, then I only do that. And then where I have to study for my other studies or for my courses, I only try to stick with that. So try to be determined and then engaged clearly on what you're doing, I guess.
Thank you for those insights, and very important, because especially even in the times we are in where, children, for those who have families, children will be studying at home. There's already those announcements going on and can be very difficult. But I think setting your timelines very well and making sure that you create space to do your work, within the time space you have, but also balancing yourself to make sure that you have time for self-care is very, very important for you to go through your graduate studies. I'm trying to, check the chat boxes. A lot going on. I want to thank our chat managers. I think there's a lot of information in the chat. Keep going there to see the questions folks are asking and the responses that are going on. It's very important that we provide you with as much information as possible. But I see a lot is going on in the chat. And thanks for those asking those questions and for the responses that have been given. Now, I want to get to a point where, given that, fall, there will be some people who will be getting on campus for in-person classes, especially for those in nursing, in engineering. How is public transit opportunities, especially in terms of subsidized public transit, and also if I'm coming with my car, where do I park? How is parking on campus? I thought this question may be very good to answer some of the expected questions from our participants this afternoon. Any of you want to give us some hints about how to access subsidized public transit, or how do I park my car when I'm on campus? For those who will be in person, because I know there will be some from the nursing, from the engineering, especially those going into labs who must be on campus.
Maybe I can give my own insight because, for example, I at first I used to commute through the public transit, and then later I kind of like lease my car and then try to park on in campus. But before I had my car, so I tried to contact to the Seattle University's Public Transportation Department, and because the Seattle University supports the program and then kind of subsidizes half of the total cost at the time. So I contacted them directly, and then kind of like I asked what would be the procedures, and then but the more detailed information can be found from the Seattle University's, I don't know the precise like the name of the website, but it has to do with like public transportation and parking, I believe. So if you go to that website, there will be a lot of information to be found up there, I believe.
No, John, thank you. That rightly said, Office of Transportation and Public Safety is very important to link up with, and there's a lot of information available for that. Now, as we come to the end of the main questions I had to allow space for other members, I wanted you to speak about how do I learn about events and activities happening on campus, and at the same time, for any of you who will be asking these two questions at the same time, how do I get to know information about COVID-19 as we start fall? Where do I get information about COVID-19 and the university's response and recommendations? Any of you can answer any of those questions as we come to the end.
I do believe that the school has a specific site. I don't have the URL off the top of my head, but there's a site where they routinely update information on COVID-19. And I've been getting almost bi-monthly emails updating me on the situation on returning to campus. So the information is plentiful, but if someone else has that URL that can put it in the chat, that'd be appreciated.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna try to share it within the chat. So like Bruno said, there is a specific link that kind of like the president and or the provost kind of try to post. And it is seattleu.edu/coronavirus. So all the new messages or new informations about the updates will be posted in there. So please refer to the website.
Sure, thank you so much for that. And I know that our time is, getting off our radar very quickly, but I want to appreciate all your responses to all these questions. And I know many other questions have been asked within the chat, and do not hesitate to post more questions. I see people asking about many things, and thankfully our team is responding to most of these. And I want to bring back to your understanding that we are fully waiting for you to come and start, in fall, and leave alone being virtual. I think there's lots of engagement and involvement that is going to be happening online, both from the Graduate Student Council perspective, but also from the administration. There's lots of ways you can get engaged and involved in events and activities, even when we're online. So do not hesitate to keep active irrespective of us going virtual. I want to thank our panelists for the great responses, for their time, and for the effort to try to give some picture of what the situation looks like from the experience. And I wanted to hand over to Janet to take us through the last bit of this session, but continue sharing your questions and any other issues. Thank you so much.
That's Obed, and thank you so much to the panelists who were busy answering Obed's questions as well as questions on the chat. And we're still working the chat questions, so don't worry about that, because we recognize that that's really active right now, and I think that's great. So my appreciation to those who are working the chat line as well. And I just want to give us minute to kind of wrap some things up, knowing on the video portion. So part of what we are going to do, we will, when we wrap up the video portion, we'll keep chat open for a while longer, so don't worry about that. If you're still involved with chat, we'll stay even when we let the video part of it go. My appreciation to the panelists, to the GEC, executive folks who are here, to Obed, of course, for guiding you through that, that list of questions, to all of you for your kind of active participation and for being here and setting yourselves on kind of the right path to get things started. I know there are lots and lots of questions that may have been answered today, but also questions that may arise later. Just a reminder that we are going to be sending out that campus orientation invite either at the end of the week or the early part of next week, so watch for that, and it will have a lot of information. Normally we would send that out ahead of this event, but we wanted to make sure that we were capturing the very latest information on rapidly evolving things. So hopefully it'll be as up to date as possible, and I think it will answer a lot of questions I'm seeing popping up on chat. But there's things on chat too that are not on there, so I'm really glad that you were here today to be able to ask. So we also have a student support center, and John is also working on that team this summer on the student support center, and wanted to let you know that that's easily accessible from the homepage. Right across the top on the homepage is a student support link at the very top of the Seattle University homepage to get you to the Student Support Center. So as you come across things that are of any nature, I've seen some people say, this might be a stupid question, but, well, there isn't such a thing. There's not a stupid question. It's all important to you. So if we can't answer that, or if we're not answering that in the orientation, feel free to reach out to the Student Support Center at any time, and they'll help you ferret out the answer to your question. So part of what we are going to try to do is improve upon these programs in the future, and we'll need your help. So shortly after this program's over, in a couple hours, we're going to send you a link to a really quick survey, maybe 3 questions for you to respond to, so that we can improve upon this in the future. And I want to wish all of you the very, very best as you get started on this graduate program and down this path. I applaud those of you that can see the horizon and that it's in sight. One of my favorite events of the whole year can be the Graduate Commencement. And I was very sad that it had to be canceled this year, because it really is an amazing thing. And our hope is that we will be able to have gatherings like that again next year. But it is one of my favorite events because you see the village that is holding up all these folks going through their graduate education. And it's partners and family and co-workers and parents and grandparents, and it really is sort of a raucous affair. And people are sometimes walking across with babies and all kinds of things. So it's really a celebration, and it's one of my favorite things. So as you start this journey, just know that it will take a village sometimes to get you through that program and to reach out to those folks who can support you best in the time ahead. So again, my thanks to all of you. Watch for the invite to the orientation. Reach out to the Student Support Center, and reach out to those of us who have been answering chat in this process. So the survey will show up in a little bit, and I want to thank all of you for your participation today and wish you the very best. And like I said, you can when we turn off chat, turn off video, we will leave chat open for a little while longer. So thank you all very much, and hope for the best for all of you. Thank you.